Alright, so the bad guy in Mulan is named Borikhan. I feel like I should make some Star Trek jokes, but I don't know if I can. Hello, Mr. Movie Lover here. Merry Christmas to everyone! 2020 has been a rough year, and we need to spread as much cheer as we can. With that said, here is my cheerfully hot take on Mulan. Mulan 2020, or the live-action version of Mulan, was released on Disney Plus for $30 extra back in September. On December 4th, it was released to everyone on Disney Plus without unlocking it. So if you have Disney Plus, you can go watch it for free now. And speaking of things that are free, if you could just take a moment and locate the thumbs up symbol and just smash that down for me real quick, that'd be great. Before we go any further, let's throw the spoiler in because I'm going to reveal some plot points. However, if you are already a fan of the animated classic, then you won't be spoilered too much. Wait, was that a spoiler itself? Alright, let's throw up a spoiled spoiler warning then. Sorry guys, I blew it. This new version doesn't follow the animated one too closely. It's supposed to be based more on the actual Ballad of Mulan, except for the witch character which they added apparently. So I'm just going to say that this might be my favorite live action Disney remake yet. Alright, roll the credits. But for real, there have actually been 16 live-action remakes of the classic Disney animated movies. I know lots of people realize Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, and now Mulan were made recently, but there are lots of them, from Maleficent and its sequel to 101 Dalmatians back in '96, and even The Jungle Book in '95. So even though this seems like a new fad, these movies have been being made for quite a while now. One of the things that sets Mulan out from the other recent films is no musical numbers. There are hints of the songs from the original soundtrack, but no one breaks into song. And to some, this might seem like a bad thing. I can understand that. I love the songs from the animated Mulan. They can be heard inside my head while at work quite often, actually. But looking back to Beauty and the Beast, the musical numbers were probably my biggest letdown. The animated version was one of my favorite Disney movies growing up. When I saw them just walking around instead of animatedly jumping while they're singing their songs, it was sad. I understand that live action isn't animated, but it doesn't mean that they have to be so tame. Anyways, Mulan doesn't break into songs. Instead, it focuses on the story and action, both of which remind me of my favorite martial arts film and probably one of my top 10 favorite films of all time, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'll have to make a separate video about that film in the future, but I still remember the feeling I had when I watched the characters appear to float in the air. They fight on top of trees, and Michelle Yeoh kicks so much butt. And they didn't use CGI for those effects, but instead using excellent wire work. Mulan has that same feel as the characters, especially Mulan, can jump through the air. Here's an interesting way that they made Mulan spin through the air. The effects, both CGI and practical, are breathtaking, and the decision to make Mulan have super chi powers as a little girl make for a magical ride. The storytelling is pretty similar to the animated version, except for there's no cricket or Eddie Murphy dragon for comic relief. There is a magical phoenix who shows up from time to time to guide Mulan to where she needs to go. And there's a scary witch who can shapeshift into any person or animal she wants. You have the Rohan warriors invading imperial outposts led by the ruthless Borikhan. He's assisted by the witch Shan Yang. The Emperor of China orders every family to send one man to fight. Mulan attempts to visit the matchmaker to find her a match.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch.
She fails still and brings dishonor to her whole family.
Dishonor to the Hua family.
A messenger tells all the families to send male fighters, and Mulan's father, being the only male in his family, is forced to accept the conscript. Mulan decides to run away and join the army instead, just like in the animated version, and this version is interesting in the training scenes because she has to sleep in the barracks with all the male soldiers instead of hiding in her own private tent. She volunteers for guard duty so she doesn't have to shower with the rest of the army. She does eventually get to show off how she can use her chi to improve her fighting skills. Another change from the animated film that I enjoyed is how the army found out she was female. In the animated version, she was hurt, and they discovered that she wasn't a man when the doctor was treating her unconsciously. In this version, it happened to her. She didn't have to own it as much. In the newer version, she's fighting Shan Yang, who tells her that she can never win because she's not being true to herself. She tries to quit pretending she's something she's not, and then pushes back the enemy army while the rest of the soldiers were on the brink of losing. She chose to sacrifice her metaphorical armor and her honor to save her comrades. and they send her packing. She still finds a way back into the fight, however. She has to save the Emperor, who was tricked into riding straight on into a trap, and manages to defeat Khan. Not before Zhang Yang sacrifices herself to save Mulan. The Emperor offers her to return to the Imperial Guard, but she declines and chooses to go back home to her family. She returns home to her father, who immediately forgives her for running away, and then Commander Tung shows up to present her with a new sword since she lost hers in the fight against Khan. He offers her a position to join the Emperor's personal guard in front of the whole village, and she looks down at her sword and sees the phoenix flying over her head. She looks up at the phoenix and smiles, and the end. We're just left to decide what happens to her on our own. So I've heard some people complaining about this movie, and I guess they can have their problems with it. It is an all-Asian cast, but the writers, producers, and director are all white. I feel like they probably should have had some more diversity in the making there. Disney should have known better, but they can't be perfect. For me personally, I found this whole production entertaining, fun, exciting, and the visuals were so beautiful. But don't take LeVar Burton's word for it. Go and check it out for yourself. I promise you will enjoy yourself. And that's what I had to say about that. Thanks for hanging out to the end. And for those of you who lasted this long, I have a little reward for you. And with that, I'm Mr. Movie Lover, and I'll see you next time. Bye!